Morning, folks. Phil Gallagher here, joined with a very special guest today. I'm going to be here with Peter Vanderham, and we are going to be playing a deck known as the Spaghetti Incident. So, how are you this morning?
Well, first off, very special. That's how my mom always used to call me. But no, I'm doing well. It's been a great day here. First day of my holiday, so feeling pretty good at the moment. How are you doing, Phil?
I'm doing great. I have 1.5 days of work before I start my holiday break, and I'm getting ready to face off against the formidable Jarvis U in the Legacy Premier League. So, very very happy to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great.
So a lot of our American fans may not be too familiar with your Magic career. So will you just give us a brief blurb? Who are you? Where are you from? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so I'm from the Netherlands. I've been playing Legacy for since 2007, I guess, something like that, and haven't spiked many big events. In 2018, I top eight at the GP in Birmingham with Delver and wrote an article about that. It was pretty good, but then they had to ban Dead Rise Shaman, so that was the end of that. Um, I've been playing a lot of decks, brewing a lot. I love brewing, well, whatever deck I want to build and play at the moment. And I generally top eight most events I go to. So I'm above average legacy player, I'd say, but that's about it.
Yeah. If you've been following my content for a while, I've played quite a few of his decks, including the Rug Cascade video that was making all of the Rhino tokens, which I think to this day is still one of my most popular videos on YouTube.
And the deck actually has been picking up some steam since Ren 6 ban now. People are playing a bit less Starmurgoyds, and people seem to be interested in deck for Bologna, also the Rhino deck. So
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of really exciting decks floating around Twitter and the various legacy chats that I'm in. And then we have this. So
yeah.
tell me a little bit about this monstrosity that we're looking at, because I've been in love with Once Upon a Time in Legacy, and I'm super happy to jam that into all sorts of decks.
So brief history of this deck. I always liked playing Eldrazi since what is Out of the Gatewatch came out, and I've been having very strong opinions about how it should be built. People in the Eldrazi Discord should know that. Um, and last year, one of the examples is that I really want to have 4 Ayavugans. Something I always screamed. Um, Last year during the control days, let's say, I think it was at the end of 2018, after the Grixis, the Tetra Shaman ban shook up the format. There was a while where Miracles was the top deck with Grixis Control is another big contender. And then later in the year, Depths became more and more popular. So I still wanted to play Eldrazi since I thought it had a good matchup versus the Miracles and the Grixis Control players, since Ugin just wins the late game. But Depths is a big issue for Eldrazi. So I was trying to figure out what could be done about that. And there were basically two Eldrazi that interact very favorably against such decks, which are Eldrazi Sky Spawner, since it's very important for Eldrazi to actually have something that blocks flyers, which it normally doesn't do, and Drowner of Hope. Drowner especially, it just basically time walks um, a Martlaga twice. It also helps with the show and tell matchup, since no matter how they get their fat creatures into play, Um, you can beat it with a Drowner if you have enough pressure to kill him in 1 or 2 turns.
There are
So yeah,
there are a lot of things that I really like about this deck as well. Especially that Yavimaya Coast is a tri-land in a deck like this. Normally you don't think of producing colorless as being an upside, but since you do have Thought Mountseer and Reality Smasher, which require colorless, this land is almost just strictly better than a dual land in a deck like this.
yeah. So one of the issues you run into when you try to splash colors in Eldrazi is that your Cavern of Souls um, end up getting tapped for colorless more than colored sources, because you just need to have a colored source to cast your Thought Mountseer and Reality Smashers, which luckily a lot of opponents just don't realize when you're tapping your Cavern of Souls for colors and that your Eldrazi aren't uncounterable at that moment. but you really just want to make sure that you can make them uncounterable. So you need enough colorless sources, even though you're already playing Ancient Tombs and Eldrazi Temples. So with the deck, when I first built this, it was essentially a mono blue deck. But because I wanted the colorless blue dual, I ended up having some pain lands in there, such as Jeffmai Coast. They weren't necessarily the green blue ones at first, but I really like Worldbreaker in some matchups, especially against Miracles if they board in stuff like Ensnaring Bridge. So I figured that I had 2 or 3 Jeff Coasts at the time, paired with a couple of Mox Diamonds and the Cavern of Souls, that basically gave you 10 green sources without adding anything to the deck. So you could easily play a World Breaker from the sideboard, and yeah, I like that. So it
Shove
became,
this guy in the main deck as well.
yeah, that's been a recent change since I wanted to try Once Upon a Time in this deck list, basically, just to increase consistency. But I want to be able to play it. So in order to play it, I want to have enough green sources, and with enough green sources in the deck, that means you have enough blue because you already needed that for your sideboard, and enough green now, so you can semi-reliably cast Oko on turn 3 or 4. You hit if you include Once Upon a Time in the consistency of your mana base, you should be able to cast Oko on turn 3 with about 90% chance. So, and the mana base for Oko is actually quite good, but I want to test just a single one.
I think you
And
can do
see.
some really cute things with your Eldrazi Scion tokens in particular. It can turn them into bigger threats, or you can use them for the old switcheroo with Oko's -5.
That, and also if you have a Chalice of the Void, it doesn't matter which side of the board it's on, just give him that. And one of the things I'm looking forward to is plussing Oko on our own Endless One. So just having a
Oh, that's
4/4 Endless One and
beautiful.
making it to 7/7 Elcast, that's to be great.
That's super exciting. The last card that I want to highlight that many of you might not be familiar with is this All-Star Fumble. Return target creature to its owner's hand, gain control of all auras and equipment that were attached to it, and then attach them to another creature. So if we get paired against something like Stoneblade or Death and Taxes, we may be able to do some really hilarious and disgusting things.
Yeah, so the card is just a playable bounce spell against depths, and then it can absolutely blow out Blade players. And the only thing we have to be careful about, by the way, is that we need to have a creature of ourselves. Else you end up equipping their equipment to another creature they control, if they
Ooh,
control another
that's
creature.
a good point.
Just as a little heads up.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts on the deck list before we hop into our first match?
Yeah, I just want to mention that I was a heavy proponent of playing 4 Eye of Ugins. Always been telling my fellow Eldrazi players that you should play 4 Eye of Ugin. It's just the best card you get for playing this in Legacy over Modern. But with 4 Once Upon a Times, I had to find some room, so I went to 3 Eye of Ugins.
So someone in the chat asked why Yavimaya Coast over Tropical Island. That's for the colorless, for Thought-Knot Seer, and Reality Smasher. So this is effectively a tri-land in this deck.
Yeah. So you want to be able to use your Eye of Ugins and Caverns and make uncounterable Eldrazi, and to do that you need another colorless source. So that's why that's in there.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our league for today. Legacy League with the Spaghetti Incident. Oh man, I'm out of play points. I may have been practicing some very questionable decks off stream.
And that was even before I sent you a bunch of questionable decks.
Oh yeah, I've got some real winners that I've been looking at.
Yeah, apparently. I'm burning to play things like that, play points like that.
I hemorrhaged some play points initially doing some tweaking of the Dino Stompy deck, so I have to win those back.
I heard you had a 90% win rate with the deck.
I won the one match that mattered.
Oh, okay, okay.
I do think that deck is very good. It needs some tweaking. Like it probably needs 4 copies of Tireless Tracker, 4 copies of Once Upon a Time.
Well, I
Um,
still,
I like this hand.
yeah, me too. Seems good. I love when my Eldrazi deck can just zoo people out. But we need to find a blue source or another big Eldrazi to really make this hand good. But
Yeah, we have so many different hits off of this Once Upon a Time. I'd really like to see Thought Knot Seer, but I'm open to a lot of things.
yeah, so here it's either Dotnot's here or Cavern of Souls, but I think we can just accept that we're gonna play the Sky Spawner later and take the Dotnot's here.
Yeah, I agree. We get to be so hyper aggressive, and this is why both of us actually are pretty hot on the Eye of Ugins, because you just get to do this. I'm going to be attacking for 8. Oh, we're going to see a mirror match here.
Interesting. Good that we don't have any challenges in our hand. And being on the play and having Dotnot's here is so good in this matchup.
Oh yeah. No, one awkward thing that can happen with Thought Knots here every once in a while is that the Eye of Ugin does reduce its colored costs. It reduces its cost. So every once in a while, you run into these situations where that becomes awkward when you have, like, say, an Urborg or something like that. All right, so our opponent has a lot of lands and not a lot of gas. They have the ability to gain some life via Glimmer Post.
Yeah, so they're the post version, which is not ideal for us, but
So they can create a 4/4 endless one if we give them that next turn. I lean towards taking the endless one. What are your thoughts?
yeah, me too. We don't have a lot of answers to big creatures, and it's just gonna be big at some point, and that's an issue. So
So we're looking to close this game relatively quickly since our opponent does have a blast zone, and that can become relatively awkward if this game, becomes a lock.
yeah, that's true. On the upside for that, they also have a mimic in place, so they can just wipe 2 other creatures without giving up anything themselves. But let's just hope we draw better than them from this point, since our
Yeah,
hand
if
doesn't
we
have
draw
much.
another big creature this turn, it's just so disgusting.
So now there's not really a reason to play the Sky Scanner pre-combat since it won't grow our mimics. But
What do you want to do with
since
the
we
tax here?
since we don't have another big creature to increase our mimic size, I might be might be willing to attack with everything here. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we need to attack with everything to keep the pressure up. I'm not sure if our opponent is just going to double block our Thought Knot Seer and take that off the table, or if they're just going to trade with 2 of our bodies. Um,
Yeah, I
but I
think
think I'm okay
I'm
with
fine
any
with
of those
either.
scenarios.
Like the only thing I'd really hate to see is if we attack with only the Tottenham here and they double block it, then we just threw away 4 damage. So.
Oh, and Felchmaster, good morning, and thank you very much for your continued support. By the way, sorry I missed that as we were starting up the league. So another thing some people might not be aware of is Prismatic Vista also fetches the card Wastes. So in a pinch, that can get us our colorless source as well.
Yeah, so this is also just a 3-color fetch for the colorless decks, since they don't get access to 3-color fixing like you normally do with duels. Well, Vista fixes that. So I really like that about it. The only problem is it doesn't produce green and blue, but well, you can't have everything, I guess.
So notably, our Eye of Ugin just makes this cost a single mana. Again, this card is great, great, great. If we had more gas, we could play it out here.
Yeah, if you had another Donuts here, could just play both of them. Even if you have a Reality Smasher, you could play a Sky Spawner pre-combat, use a Scion, also play that this turn. The Sky Spawner makes it such that you often get turns where you get a 2-1 in play without sacrificing any tempo for the rest of your curve. Since it's only 1 mana with the Ivogin, gives you 1 mana back.
So our opponent did not do anything on 5 mana here. So we feel pretty good about our situation. Oh, geez, especially now.
Yeah,
That
so
is,
it's a bit rough that we don't have our mimics anymore.
but
So it doesn't make the attack huge. So I think we just attack with everything pre-combat and first, and then see what we're going to do. Of note, the Endless one is going to be a 7/7 if we don't sacrifice our Scion, and that's big enough to tangle with everything they should be able to play.
all right, yeah, they're gonna
Because
trade with that. No surprises there.
so, is there anything we should play around? Their sweepers all hit only colored
Colorless,
spells,
yeah.
so yeah.
So we don't need to play around all his dust. We are beating Endbringer currently.
Yeah,
They
Ugin
can
is also fine.
they can gain 2 life and go up to 5 with Glimmer Post.
So we can just jam this Endless one without fear of any sweepers. Of note, by the way, that of course the Sky Spawner is also a colorless creature, so it won't get hit by all assist either. Which I, by the way, get a lot of then Texas players with, that they attack their sort of fire niced up creature into my drowners.
Yep, that one's really easy to miss. Devoid cards aren't really popular at all. You every once in a while will see like a Kozilek's Return or an Eldrazi Displacer, but that's about it.
So yeah, I think we want the World Breaker because it destroys lands and ramp artifacts. I think we like to dismember here.
Yeah, so we're probably cutting our chalices, but most of the rest of our stuff is at least fine.
Yeah.
So I think we're definitely going to want these 4, and then you can consider these 2 if we have anything else that we want to cut.
Yeah, or Caracas even if you want to make a if you want to swap a land, since sometimes they're playing post so they can have the Eldrazi Titans, mostly Ulamog. Well, if we have a land that we don't want, if we want have another spot, we can consider Caracas just for consistency.
Yeah, the problem with cutting a lot of our lands is we have this balance between the soul lands, Eldrazi Temple, Ivugin, and Ancient Tomb, and our actual color producing lands for the Sky Spawners and the Okos.
Yeah. So as I'm looking at it here, I wonder if Wretched Bomb is better than a bounce spell or not. But other than that, I just think that the creatures and the Oko we have are better than the bounce spells.
Yeah, especially when we're on the draw, Wretched Bomb might just be too slow. Echoing Truth is awkward since we're playing a pseudo mirror match. We might end up bouncing some of our stuff as well. So I'm almost more inclined to play Fumble.
Yeah, I think it's between Fumble and Carcass here. Carcass also just increases our consistency. Well, let's just go with Fumble, I think.
Yeah, I think this is close though.
Yeah, I mean we're still a very mana hungry deck, so that's why Carcass is always a consideration when it's close.
And yes, Oko, really, that card is really strong. You can shove it into so many different shells, and it will just do disgusting things.
Yeah, one of the most important considerations for this deck is that, well, how do you get brick walled? Well, by very large Darmguys. Making those into 3/3s just makes all your bigger creatures to run over it. So.
Right. I like our opening hand. We currently are only going to have access to one of these 2 colors, but I think that's going to be fine.
Yeah, so this hand is generally not great in this matchup because we only get to play one spell on turn 2 and nothing before that. But because we have the Dot on Seer and some late game power in the World Break, I think we should keep this. But it's not what I want in this matchup.
Yeah, there are problems with this hand, but I don't
Yeah.
know that you can afford to throw back the triple soul land hand.
Yeah, agreed.
If our opponent comes out the gates with an opener like we had last time, though, it's not the best for us.
So that at least fixes the color problems.
Yep.
Yeah, so interesting about our opponent's deck. You see a lot of big post list and some aggressive post list. So our opponent is clearly playing aggressive post list since he has both the mimics and the Endless One in there.
I'm not the
Which should
biggest
be
fan of the aggressive post lists. I'm in deck building, I'm often trying to do the best thing on one axis or another, and I often feel like these yeah, I don't mind that too much. Um, these hybrid decks often run into situations like this where you're not pushing the aggressive plan or you're not pushing the end game plan hard enough.
yeah. So the reason to play the version our opponent is because it's the best build you can run against miracles that also has a good game against combo. So if you want to target miracles because people expect that to get bigger, and both has a very strong late game where you get to activate Ivugin and cast the smashers in the same turn, but also are afraid of combo, then I think this version could be good. But I'm not too big of a fan of it. As you say, there's a bit of a disparate plan.
Yeah, I just want to jam the Thought Knot Seer here off of Eldrazi Temple.
Yeah, agreed.
So we're currently ahead in terms of the mana war. Not by much, since like this can potentially turn into a soul land.
Yeah. So there was a very small consideration. Let's see. I think we have to take one of their. It's rough. The Endless One is the only one that's bigger than our creatures, but they only have 4 mana at the moment, so I think we just have to take one of the Totems.
Yeah, I think so as well. It feels very bad though because our opponent is going to have the bigger creature on an otherwise somewhat equal board.
Yeah.
So part of me wonders if we should take the Endless One. So on their turn, they'll play Blast Zone, Thought Not Seer away our World Breaker. On our turn, we'll play Eldrazi Sky Spawner. Or a better card that we draw. If we draw a land, taking the Endless One is better, but if we draw basically any spell, taking a Thought Knot Seer is better. We have more spells than
Yeah,
land.
I can see that. Let's take the Endless One. And I think I like that.
I just don't know. So the first Thought Knot Seer is the one that really matters. And if we drew something to do with like say 6 mana, like say we drew an Endless One.
I think it might be a mistake what we just did. Because we don't get to play the World Breaker next turn. They can Thought Not Seer the Sky Spawner first, and then if we brick on a spell, they get to take the
Oh,
World Breaker as well.
you're right. All right. Thankfully, they didn't see that line.
No, but I think they should have done that and just take both of our spells.
Yeah, I agree. We messed up there.
Luckily, no Magic player is perfect. So.
All right. Well, the second Thought Knot Seer is not going to take a card since we did draw a land.
Yeah, I don't know if we should be happy with that or not, but
Right.
oh, it is how it is. I think because we have so much mana, we just want to keep our Tatanseer back to block theirs.
Agreed. We are not the aggressor here.
No.
I will 100% trade Thought Knot Seer for Thought Knot Seer given the opportunity.
Yeah, the only awkward thing about that is that they get to attack first, then trade Tatanseers, then play their second Tatanseer, increasing their chance to hit something, but I think we're okay with that.
Yeah.
If they attack with both, that means they have to attack pre-combat and can't attack with the mimic. So that's fine. They probably play the Tatanseer first.
I think so.
If they go to combat first and attack with the Tatanseer, we might want to consider not blocking this turn.
I agree.
Since we still get the same trade next turn, and then don't have to fear their Tatanseer. I think our opponent is thinking the exact same thing at the moment. Like, do I play it first or offer the trade first?
Okay. So they are playing it pre-combat. So they're going to whiff. And this also means that if we trade Thought-Knot Seers in combat, that we have a real chance at actually playing a card on our turn
And
that we
note
draw.
that in this matchup, the Sky Spawners are rarely ever under threat. So we basically just need the game to go 6 more turns.
All right, so I'm all about just making this trade here and then not doing any blocks on the Mimic.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we can always get 4 life out of the Scion by blocking the other Thought-Knot Seer. And if we have another Sky Spawner, we can trade a Sky Spawner into Scions. Ouch. That's rough.
That's okay. So this is kind of one of the reasons that we both like Once Upon a Time in this shell. Oh, okay, that's very good.
Yeah, so now we get to attack with the Sky Spawner and the Smasher, I think.
Yeah,
but
and we
not
hold this
Scion.
back to effectively
Yeah.
gain 4 life. I
Yeah,
guess.
that does mean that we're dead to a Smasher off the top, since we can block the Mimic. That's a 5/5, and then 9 comes through. But
I don't think we can play
we have
around
to risk
that. And
yeah, I think we have to risk that. So that was just something to consider, because she could hold the Sky Spawner back, but I think we should just try and finish the game. Especially because our opponent has 2 Ancient Tombs.
yeah, the closer we put their life total to 0, the closer we get towards this also being a mana denial package. So, for example, if they were to tap both Ancient Tombs on their turn, they would be dead on board to just the Sky Spawner.
Yeah.
So Blast Zone not currently a threat for us. It's 1 turn too far away from mattering.
Yeah, I guess they can take. No, they don't have the mana to activate it, right? Since they only can put it up to 2 without using Tombs.
Yeah, and it also taps to put these counters on. So we're not in immediate danger.
Tapping Ancient Tomb sounds scary.
Something like an Endbringer?
I hope so.
Ooh.
That's not great for us.
That
either.
is indeed not great for us.
This looks like lethal to me, but never know.
Hey, opponent can mess up. Uh-oh. They have seen the line. So now
I
there's
think we're
7
dead.
crashing in, 2 more off the top of Walking Ballista just being fired at our face to kill us.
So many lands, still so close.
So note that opponent should just ping us to death right now. Not give us another turn in case we're playing something silly like Glimmer Boast.
I mean, why would I ever play silly cards in my deck?
I don't know. All right. I don't think we want to change anything with sideboarding based on what we saw.
No, I agree. I think they do have Walking Ballista. Do we have anything that interacts with that?
No, we don't like have Spyglass or anything. So
yeah. So I think we just submit this again and hope we draw more creatures.
Yeah,
Since
our
that's what the deck
keep
does.
was land heavy, and we didn't draw payoff spells, and that's okay because like we almost finished things anyway.
Yeah, we got a lot of work done by their Ancient Tombs. So kind of sad that our World Breaker went into exile, so we can return it. The fumble was really awkward in our opening hand. But the Once Upon a Time, the disadvantage of this hand is like the Tunnel Seer is going to be a turn 3 play because we wanted Once Upon a Time to find gas probably. I don't like this hand.
I don't like this hand either. Like even if we treat this Once Upon a Time as it's like a great card, like we don't have a turn 1 or probably turn 2 play with this hand. I want to be more aggressive when I'm on the play.
Yeah. So either the Once Upon a Time is a Sol land. That means you would have 5 lands, Totten Seer Fumble. I wouldn't keep that. Or it is a Smasher, let's say, ideally.
And that's
then
turn
we have
3
turn
into turn 4, and that's not good enough.
No. Wow, this is rough.
I I think this has to go back as well.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't like going to 5 in this matchup. Okay, this is
Let's
fine.
keep this. Yeah. So we bottom a coast, and maybe we just have to gamble on drawing a Sol land or any land.
And ship back a second coast. Or
Yes, since let's say we get 2 draws for a third land for the Totons here.
yeah.
But if we keep this and don't find the land, then we still have to wait another turn to play the Totons here. I think I would put back the coast.
I think I would as well. I think this hand easily wins if we draw a soul land. And we just curve Mimic into Thought-Knot Seer into Smasher. I think that's our path to victory.
Yeah, and note that because we have the green source, we can also play Once Upon a Time if we top deck it. So we find a land, not on curve, but then we can still find a land.
Yeah, and we'll also have the line of draw Sky Spawner this turn and use that to cast a Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher the following turn.
Yeah. Their hand seems to be good.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's one of those.
All right. This is fine.
Well, if we draw a Sol land, we might be able to brick them with 3 2/1s. Looking at nothing.
Uh-oh. I think I want to offer a trade of our Mimic for their Mimic.
Yeah.
Or do I just want to hold it back and hope they don't have a follow-up creature so I can trade defensively?
No, I would just attack. Yeah, this looks rough. Especially
yeah, I don't expect to win from here.
Yeah.
I mean, things can happen, but our opponent needs to be sitting on a pile of land over there.
Yeah, like 2 more Ivugin and some 5-drops.
Yeah, just play some Glimmer Post or something, please.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Some tap lands. Like tap land into another tap land and then play a Grim Monolith or something.
Hey, Lord Darkview, welcome. You're just in time to watch us probably get smashed in the face. We're playing a pseudo mirror match. All right, so that could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have.
We're only taking 6.
Yeah, and luckily they're all smaller than a 4/4 at the moment, so if we draw land, we might still be in this game.
Hey, we did it. We don't have any double colored sources, right? So like we never need green, blue, where one of them is cavern.
No, only for Oko, but cavern doesn't work for that.
All right, hopefully there's just one piece of gas over there, and we take it. Hey, okay. There we
0
go.
pieces of gas.
All right, there is legitimate hope that we can win this game now.
There is.
It's we're not favored. Let's make that clear.
Let's send some more positivity. Of course we're winning this. They're not drawing anything. See? We're just gonna smash them.
Okay, let's see.
So what I do here is just attack with a smasher and keep the Thought-Knot Seer back because it's keeping the reshape at bay.
I agree.
Yeah, let's just see if we can smash into that before they draw anything, basically.
Yeah. And I don't think we can afford to take the Thought-Knot Seer attack and trade off that body and give them a card back.
No, and it really doesn't. Like, we're also just giving them the choice. Neither of which is good for us, since either they trade and get another card, which they really need, or they don't, and we still don't get the attack because they have creatures. So this is fine. This enables our second Reality Smasher if they don't have anything. So.
A Ratchet Bomb. That's totally fine. Totally fine. It gets to start ticking up immediately, so it can potentially answer a Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher, but I'm hoping that the game is over by that point.
Well, if the game isn't over by that point, it's probably a good sign for us, since that means they didn't top deck something insane. Of note, they have 7 mana, so next turn they can activate their Ayahukin. So I expect something big to come down in 2 turns.
Yes.
Which means that we should just attack with everything and see if we can get him dead before then.
Oh, Arkin, thank you so much for this huge host, 126 viewers. I hope your stream went well, friend. We are playing a very sweet deck, which we've dubbed the Spaghetti Incident, which is a colorless blue and green Eldrazi deck featuring Once Upon a Time and Oko. I hope you all will enjoy this. We're having a lot of fun. We're trying to pull back from a mull to 5 here.
Yeah, we're just hoping our opponents bricks a lot, and that we don't do so ourselves. But
oh yeah, Oko Indroids. So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be our 7th land. So we do want to play this in case we draw Eye of Ugin.
Yeah.
All right.
So
We'll see how bad this is.
Yeah.
They might have some of the legendary Eldrazi. In which case, yeah.
It's fine. They get 1 attack in, we top deck a Reality Smasher and kill them. Oh wait, they gain life.
Yeah, that's the real kick in the pants here.
Only 2 lands, you say? Sounds like a cheap Ulamog.
And they get to draw a card, and they still have all that mana left over.
You know what card can win this game?
What's that?
Drowner of Secrets.
Yeah, that would be a chef's kiss top deck.
If they don't have too much other stuff, that is, but. You know what card doesn't win this game?
Is it Eldrazi Temple?
I think it's Eldrazi Temple.
So we go to 2. We'll be dead to a Smasher or a Ballista or just another Ulamog attack. Drowner probably our only out at this point.
Yeah, last turn we could also draw an Oko to shrink the Ulamog, but now it's...
Yeah, now that's not going to be an out. He can
There's
only come
one
back
Drowner.
from the graveyard, not the exile, unfortunately. Hold on, are we still in attackers? Is this going to be like a spatial contortion to buff it for lethal? Because if so, that's pretty hot.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Nope. All right. Okay. All right.
Well, it's not over yet. They still have an Eye of Ugin active, so I don't expect us to drag this on for too long, but...
Maybe we'll draw
that doesn't mean we can't try.
Running Drowner of Hopes and stay in this.
I've won a lot of games with running Drowner of Hopes. Like, I'm just dead in this game unless I draw like 1 Drowner of Hope, 2 Drowner of Hopes, and then they get added to the board. You're like, now I really have to draw a 3rd. Yeah. But then when you do, you just win.
So one thing that I was thinking about earlier, but I didn't say, is that earlier it was possible that my opponent should have just left the Ratchet Bomb on 0 since we're playing things that... All right, Walking Ballista. All right.
Yeah, that looks like enough.
That's fine. Anyway, to finish that thought, one of the things I was thinking about earlier is they could have left Ratchet Bomb on 0 before they knew what they wanted to do with it in order to play around the things that are creating Eldrazi Scion tokens, like Drowner of Hope and Eldrazi Sky Spawner.
Yeah, but the only one they had seen thus far was the Sky Spawner, and I don't think you'd rather have it on 3 than to blow the Sky Spawner a bit faster. So.
Yeah, that's fair. So for anyone who tuned in via Arkan's host, here's the entire deck list in all of its glory. You can also check it out at any time via the Cardboard Live extension. That's the set of cards that will appear on your screen on, I believe, the left-hand side. All right, I like this hand quite a bit. We're going to get to Once Upon a Time in order to go and probably just find another soul land with this hand.
Just grab an Eye of Ugin and run them over. Sounds good.
Yeah. Do we want to upkeep our Once Upon a Time to play it around a daze or anything like that?
No, I'd rather know what we're drawing.
I agree with that.
Like if we draw an Eye of Ugin, we definitely don't want to search for an Eye of Ugin.
Perfect.
I think we're just playing it before playing a land because
I
I'd
agree with
rather
that.
have them
The
daze it.
upside of drawing Eye of Ugin is so huge.
Or just having them daze it. I'm fine with that as well. We really like a soul land if they wasteland us, but the Sky Spawn is also really good at providing mana and stopping the Delver.
Yeah.
So I think
I think I like the Sky Spawner. I don't want to take a second Ancient Tomb versus Delver.
No, I agree.
And I think I want to lead on Eldrazi Temple.
Yeah, just Temple into Mimic. And if they don't have a wasteland, we spare ourselves a bunch of damage. Sure.
Yes, I have played around with Death and Taxes post-ban. I really like Mirren Crusader right now.
I hate that card. It's just so bad against all the decks I play. So whenever they play that, I'm like, well, they just made a 2/2. Great.
Yeah, and then like people are playing around with all these like usually like Bug, Hymn to Turok, like Snapcaster, Oko style decks, and Mirren Crusader just like eats them for lunch.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my gosh, it's the goose! I've missed him. I haven't seen that
Happy
in
to see
so
that.
long.
I think we're gonna hope that they are not countering anything and just get the Chalice down and then get the Sky Spawner down.
So they flipped over to Force of Negation though, which is awkward.
So you're saying you might want to consider not playing a non-creature spell at all, or
Yeah. So like, there's a very very good chance they have a blue card and they will trade that Force of Negation without question for Chalice. So I'm wondering if our path to victory this game is going to be being more aggressive. And so like we should play Endless One as a 2/2, attack with our Mimic, and then try to curve like Sky Spawner into Thought Knot.
yeah. The thing about that is, if you think about the blue cards, they could pitch to Force for Negation. It's basically only Spell Piercer we're trying to get them to pitch. We're not happy if they get to pitch that, since if they pitch Daze, it's good for us. If they pitch a Force of Will, it's good for us. Cantrips as well, since they might find more wastelands.
All right.
I actually think it's good for us if they Force for Negation the Chalice here, unless they're pitching a Spell Pierce. But
yeah, I'll buy that argument. And I also like doing this pre-combat to try to like get the information. All right, pitching a Spell Snare.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I didn't want to pitch.
But... and I lean towards holding back. What do you lean towards?
Yeah, just try and trade it. I just don't want to take any damage. They probably don't attack at all, but that's good for us.
Yeah. So the fact that we have our Ancient Tomb and not our Eldrazi Temple is going to be so relevant this game.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yep.
Yeah, I think we just have to
absolutely.
Yeah.
We are not the aggressor here.
No, we're going to take a couple of turns before we have a big Eldrazi online that can block it favorably anyway. So.
I think we're in trouble if our opponent just like plays a big Tarmogoyf here. Okay, it's only a 3/4 right now, but
I was saying I'd much rather have them play a small Tarmogoyf, but yeah.
This stings.
Well, it's slightly painful.
But it, you know, assuming this isn't a lightning bolt, it can trade with the Delver.
Yeah, and then give us some mana to do other stuff. So I think we don't want to jump.
Yeah, I don't. I think we need this mana for this stuff
Because if
down here.
we miss, we just have to cast Dominance here. Yeah.
Ooh, all right, that's it. We're not beating that.
If we draw a land, we can make the Tarmogoyf into a 3/3 with the Oko. If we draw a colored land, maybe. No, okay, this is gonna be rough. I think we're not out of it if we play a 1/1 endless one and just attack for 1.
Yeah, it's all right. Here we go.
I will consider your games.
Oh, so have I. But this is the time where we're playing towards hypothetical worlds.
It's my favorite time.
Oh man, I'm so happy to hear that you've got a good local legacy scene coming up. All right, are we chumping now?
Yeah,
I think we are.
we need to be able to activate this Jeremiah Ghost a couple of times. If we're gonna win this.
Potentially Ancient Tomb as well.
Yeah.
Eh? There it is.
So are we casting Dotlance here or Oko?
Oh, wait, we can't Oko.
Cast Oko, sorry.
So I think we just attack and then deploy the Thought Knots here. This isn't a tap right now. It's not a tap. All right. And we'll get absolutely savaged by a daze, but we're not in we can afford to play around anything territory.
We're basically getting savaged by everything, so just need them to have nothing.
Yeah, like even a lightning bolt is pretty. All right.
No, I was gonna say even a ponder is an issue.
Yep. Like a ponder growing the Tarmogoyf to a 4/5 means that we're probably effectively dead.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
So this is an issue. We can't really cast anything.
Are we?
We could play a 1/1 endless one.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Are we attacking with the Thought Knot Seer?
No.
My thought is no, because it would leave us.
Yeah, it's holding back
like
the Tarmogoyf. Yeah, and if they draw a ponder, we get the double block with Dotlance here and endless one. So.
Yeah, we need to preserve this mana to cast one of these two cards. Or sorry, not this mana, this life.
Yeah, that's basically a City of Traitors now. We get to use it once, and we get to use it when we have another land drop. Oh, let's see. I was going to say, how many lands do they have?
Oh, no. That is such a dagger draw. Because not only does it kill a creature, it also puts a sorcery in the graveyard to grow the Tarmogoyf. Ugh.
I think we're down to 0 outs, but let's see.
Eldrazi Sky Spawner could put us to 1, give us another mana to work with in a later turn.
Yeah.
No, that costs 3 life.
Yeah, so we'll be at 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah, so the Wretched Bomb. I think the Alles does as well. It's very clunky, but I always try to get it in there. But
so Arkin, what we were saying is there was no sorcery in the graveyard yet. So by casting a sorcery that killed our creature, it also grew the Tarmogoyf bigger than our Thought Knots here. So it was effectively a 2-for-1 sorcery there.
Yeah, Chain Lightning was basically the worst card they could have for us.
So what do we want to be cutting here?
So I'm typically not really a big fan of Mimic in this matchup, but on the play, I quite like it still.
Yeah, I think on the draw, we trim or cut some of these.
Yeah, so I think on the play, we don't bring in the Aldous Dust.
All right, I buy that.
And then...
Do we just want to, like, trim some of our top end?
Yeah, so I think
Like,
Drowner is really good against Starmagoyf, but we probably want to cut one.
yeah, I think we need to cut one of those. Like, mostly because, like, it's colored and expensive, and that's a bad combo.
And maybe just cut...
We want to trim one of these.
Yeah, I think we trim Once Upon a Time and maybe just trim 2 Once Upon a Times. But
Yeah, that's probably fine.
Yeah. The last time I played this deck, especially in these kind of matchups, I didn't have to for Once Upon a Time, so I had a lot more random cards that I could shave in certain matchups.
Yeah, we don't have something, you know, that's often a filler in the Eldrazi decks, like Matter Reshaper, for example.
Yeah, usually have like something like a Warping Will that isn't optimal in the matchup. So we get to play 5 power on turn 1, but that's about it. This is essentially a mulligan to 5 already. We also don't get to play Jits, but
this is a weird hand.
yeah, since it's a mulligan to 5, but on 5 I would keep it. I think this is a mulligan. I think it's too greedy.
Yeah, if this second Mox Diamond I think was like probably literally any other card, I think I would keep this.
Yeah. It isn't much better, but I think we will have to keep this.
Yeah, I think we keep it and we'll pitch our second Ayavugan.
Yeah, I think so. Back when I had 4 Ayavugans in deck, I also always really liked leading with Ayavugan because, well, there was a chance I drew the second legendary land. With 3 in the deck and 1 on the bottom, it's less obvious, but I think it's still fine.
Yeah, I still think we lead on that one.
Yeah, especially because we also have Wretched Bomb and a couple of other non-Eldrazi spells in our deck now. Yes, Snow-Covered Forest, the perfect draw of my Eldrazi deck.
Mm-hmm.
I like
it. Is it worth it to take the 2 life to just put the Ratchet Bomb in play before it can be dazed, or should we just like super slow roll this one and just like?
I think I like putting the Wretched Bomb in play.
So do I. If we don't play out either Eldrazi Temple or Ancient Tomb this turn, then we can't actually cast a Thought-Knot Seer off the top next turn.
No, we might want to wait on that anyway to play around days, but yeah. I agree. I just want to get the Wretched Bomb out. If they get Darmagorgth into play, I want to be able to put it to 2. Okay, now we're just gonna play basics and see what happens.
I mean, I'm fine with this given that our hand is weak right now and we have the clock in play.
Yeah. So I like putting this to 1 and just keeping it there.
I agree with that. All right. Yeah, we'll just cast that next turn.
Yeah.
I think planning to cast this, we should just play Wastes this turn, Forest next turn.
It really doesn't matter, I think. There's no 3-drop we can draw that we want to cast instead of the Once Upon a Time, I feel. And if we have a 3-drop, like an Endless one, it doesn't matter if you have Forest or Waste. So.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think because we are gonna have another turn to make a land drop anyway, we just want to cast it once upon a time and don't care about days, I think.
So I think the question though is, should we Mox Diamond our snow covered forest so that we can play Once Upon a Time and play it around days?
Maybe we should, because it also gives us a blue source if we don't draw another land.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So let's discard that.
And then play the temple, and then play the Once Upon a Time. We could attack first, if you want.
Yeah, so we have to figure out what we're doing with this Ratchet Bomb. Like, we could blow it now and just trade with the Mongoose, or we could try to, like, trade our Mimic with the Mongoose and keep this for something that's going to be better.
Yeah, I think we need the information from Once Upon a Time to decide whether we want to blow the Ratchet Bomb or not.
I agree with
Or
that.
take the trade with a creature, yeah.
Yeah, Arkham makes a good point that by sequencing the way that we did, we don't actually get to go and play an Oko if we draw one.
Yeah, because we have to waste in play now instead of the forest. That's right. And I think now we just don't want to attack and just pass a turn, prevent them from playing another one drop, and then just making the Mimic bigger next turn.
I agree with that.
Oh, this is our second match and second quite obvious misplay. Well, we roll with those. Oh, I like this.
That smells like Stifle to me, then.
It does. But we could top deck a Thought Knots here, right?
Oh, yeah. Eh.
That's not a Thought Knots here. A 4/4 Endless one is significantly better than a 3/3 Endless one in this matchup.
I'm with you. We don't want this to be lightning bolted. And
Yeah.
I don't think this is valuable enough that I want to wait to play it around a days either.
No, I agree.
Yep. I accept.
I think we just want to keep this Ratchet Bomb in play and just force them to hold up a mana.
I agree with that.
Since that at least prevents them from playing a Tarmogoyf or whatever. We do take 2 damage because of that, I think. Well, or 1 damage, yeah. I think taking this damage here is fine.
I think so too. Yep. This is good for us.
Yeah, so we just cast that and pass the turn again. See how long we can have them keep up their mana.
Yeah, because I think they need to just play something that's bigger.
Yeah, the problem is next turn, if they have another land, they get to play a Tarmogoyf or something and still keep up the Stifle. But I guess that's inevitable for us.
All right, so now we know they have a daze. All right, do we just want to trade the Sky Spawner for the Delver?
Since they have 3 lands now, we might want to just blow the Ratchet Bomb. Just to see if they have it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because at this point we're just.
Oh my god, they didn't have it! Beautiful, beautiful bluff from our opponent, by the way.
True, but also good on us for keeping having them keep up the mana. We keep this in hand for if we top deck Oko, I think.
I agree. If we draw a Reality Smasher, like, we can just play the land at that time anyway.
Yeah. By the way, one of the things I really like about Sky Spawner is that it makes Jit a lot better of a card in Eldrazi. So like whenever I was playing without Sky Spawner, I usually just didn't have enough bodies to keep around, or couldn't get through a big creature on the opposing side. Having both a flyer and extra bodies really helped.
Alright, so Brazen Borrower has bounced our Mox Diamond, which is slightly annoying, but not the end of the world.
Yeah. What's more annoying is that that's also a 3/1 flying that's gonna pressure us. I think now we just want to play Cavern of Souls on
Eldrazi, resolve this.
Yeah. But post combat, I think, so we attack with. I think with both.
Yeah, I'm fine with trading either for Delver.
Yeah.
I think the easiest way we lose this one is to just be taking 6 in the air.
Yeah, agreed. These Mox Diamonds sure are looking horrible at the moment.
Yeah, you play that to like play around Wasteland and play towards some other lines, but that doesn't mean they cover everything.
No.
So.
I always liked them a lot more than the Spirit Guides, because then you didn't get punished for using your ramp early, so you get to carry the ramp over to your next turns. But yeah, if you top deck them late, they're even worse than Spirit Guides.
Yeah, you sometimes run into these issues with cards like Dak Baden, Brazen Borrower, Abrade, things like that.
Yeah. I see Baku asking how the deck's performing. Well, not optimally, I say so thus far, but it's only the second round. So. A couple of awkward draws and hands, but
nah.
I think you would just offer the trade with the Sky Spawner and keep the silence back. Yeah.
All right.
Those were a lot of lightning bolts.
It's sort of interesting that if our opponent had the bolt, they didn't just like bolt the spawner on their turn and then crash in with the Delver.
Yeah. I guess they don't have anything else and want to keep the silence back, since they're losing the race to the Science at the moment. But with the Brazen Borrower, they should be able to win the race.
Are we just playing the Snow-Covered Island out?
So if we will draw a green card, we want to have it in our hand, so I think not.
I agree
so
with
if
that.
You draw Once Upon a Time. So now that they've time wolfed this once, they are happy to take the race, which I think I agree with.
Oh God, Mox Diamond, why?
Perfect. This is just great deck building.
Mm-hmm. And in case you're not aware, folks, this flies, so we're not
I like
doing
casting a Mox Diamond here, by the way. Post combat. Maybe we should have done it pre-combat to bluff a. I don't know
Smasher. Yeah.
But I like casting the Mox Diamond, so maybe they think we need the green or blue mana for something. So if they have a random counterspell, they might counter it.
Yeah.
But that's only if they have Force of Negation still in the deck, which they might not. But I like casting one.
And I think we do nothing with it if it resolves.
Agreed. Just letting it die.
All right, so we're taking 6 a turn. We're on a 3-turn clock. My opponent is on a 4-turn clock. They get the first attack.
We really need a Smasher.
Smasher would be great. I will accept.
Drowner would be fine. Or I think, oh no.
Any big card.
Cast that. Yeah, Drowner is a bit expensive for our current land situation. Even though we do have the silence, but. So should we keep our land in hand if we draw Oko? Because if we draw Oko, we get to gain 3 life.
Yeah, I think we need to play Snow-Covered Island this turn, hold Eldrazi Temple.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point our outs are looking slim. Let's see.
I mean, Smasher could do it.
Smash could do it, Drowner could do it. Jit doesn't do it. We didn't bring in the Honest Dust. I was looking at this member. If we kept our second land, we could have had double black for it, but that wouldn't do it anyway.
That is a very large creature, but we will die in the air.
Yep.
Rough set of draws there.
But Monk's Diamond is such a good card.
Yeah, it usually is. But when you draw 3 of them in a row,
yeah, maybe not ideal until like
not
turn
the
6
best.
plus.
So scoreboard not looking the hottest right now. Let's see if we can redeem ourselves over the course of the next 3 rounds here.
Yeah, I feel a 3-2 coming.
I'd feel fine about a 3-2. I'm used to running stuff back through the losers bracket. Death and Taxes is that sort of deck where if you get like a bad first round pairing, you sometimes, get paired against, oh, I'm the Pernicious Deed deck. And then you have to just fight your way back up into good standing.
Yeah, that depends on what I'm playing. If I'm playing a deck like Blue-Red Delver, I'm sometimes like at 0-2, I'm just done with it, but... But when I'm playing a cool deck, then I definitely want to battle it back. No, I think Rook Delver is good against this matchup specifically because they have Tarmogoyfs, but I don't think Rook Delver is the top of the Delver decks at the moment.
Yeah, I'd be more interested in either a Bug or a Grixis shell than a Rug shell right now.
Or even Blue-Red, I think, but I don't think Rug is where you want to be.
This hand feels too slow to me on the draw.
Yeah, 0 Soul lands, no one spawn in time. I don't think we can keep this.
It's crazy if we top deck a Soul land, especially like an Eye of Ugin, but I don't think we can keep this.
No, we get to draw 7 more cards towards Eye of Ugin. I think we keep this and ditch the Smasher.
I do too. This is not an ideal hand.
Maybe this round we don't get the Wasteland.
That would be nice. I think it's gonna be hard to beat Wasteland. Okay.
That's better than
that's probably indicative of either Sneak and Show or Ant.
Could still be Blue-Red Delver, of course. Since they also play 3 or 4 Preordains. I think we lead on Cavern here because with this hand the Temple is just more important. Or do you want to try and top deck a Soul Land?
No, I think I want to lead on this. Like, if this gets Wastelanded and we get off of casting that, that's fine. But yeah, we need our Soul Land for these so badly.
So there is a chance that they're a combo deck, in which case we would want to slam the Totnots here. Like if they don't play a creature next turn, just play a cantrip, then I want to play, slam the Totnots here.
Yeah.
Not
but
sure.
if they're a combo deck though, and we just like play Chalice of the Void on 1 off just 2 regular lands, that's fine too.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. So the only difference would be Sneak and Show, I guess, but which doesn't really care about Chalice.
Yeah, Baku, there's an argument to play a Chalice on 0 that turn, but at the same time, if we're missing land drops, having the ability to play Chalice on 1 into Chalice on 1, or to play a Chalice on 1 through 1 piece of discard is also very strong. All right, it appears our opponent just has the turn 2.
It might have been good to play a Chalice on 0. Now that we know this.
Oh yeah, like obviously given the information we have now, but like if we play a Chalice on 0 and they're sneak and show, like we shut off, you know, a couple of petals, and that's not actually all that great. All right, they've got it from there.
Yeah, I believe them that they were in paper. I always like making people show that they actually have the tendrils in their deck, but well, especially post-board it is.
All right,
People have been known to get greedy.
I like Fluster. I like Crypt. I like Ratchet Bomb.
Yeah, I think Mystical Dispute is also good enough, and Echoing Truth as well.
Yeah. We could play Fairies, but I don't know that that's really where we need to be.
Yeah, if we have more cards we want to board out, then yes. So we take out the Drowners for sure.
Mr. FH, thank you very much for following, as well as Slod1989. I missed that one a little bit ago. Yeah, these are just way too slow for this sort of matchup.
The entire pile of 3-drops are our worst.
Yeah.
Aggressive permanents.
I think we junk that and junk this and call that good.
And I think we want to board in a Very Macabre over Sky Spawners.
Yeah, like, do we want to just cut all 3 of these since they're so poor as an aggressive threat and go up to 3? Or is this too much?
No, I like this. But basically we have to make sure we don't die. We have so many good cards against them. Well, so many. The good cards we do have are very good against them. So I just want to try not to die.
So, Pinguster, one thing to think about is that Once Upon a Time can find Fairy Macabre. So, like, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I was also a fan of Fairy Overlay Line last year a lot, because Black Red Reanimate was very popular, and they boarded in a lot of enchantment destruction versus Eldrazi, and you just got them with Fairy Macabre every time.
Jay the Mind Sculptor, thank you very much for your support. I really do appreciate it. And we have a very strange opening hand.
Yeah, I think this is an easy mulligan.
I agree with that. Even though it has 3 different sideboard cards, this has no ability to produce pressure, and Ant will beat you if you cannot produce pressure. Whereas this hand is like chef's kiss beautiful.
Yeah.
So we're going to get turn 1 Chalice of the Void and Tormod's Crypt. And maybe Endless one as well, depending on how we want to do this.
Yeah, so the question is, what's powerful? Chalice of the Void on 0 or on 1? I generally like putting it on 1 if we have the option to, and I don't think the 1 attack with ends 1 matters too much.
Yeah, so I think I want to throw back a Cavern of Souls. It's weird.
That's kind of rough since we have the Mox Diamond.
So I guess we can throw back Eye of Ugin, play a Cavern, Mox Diamond a Cavern, play Chalice of the Void on 1, and Tormod's Crypt on 1.
Yeah, that does puts us a lot of ways away from having a Smasher or a Tottenham. So there's an argument for
throwing back the Endless one and hoping to draw pressure,
or putting the Shadows on 0 and playing an Endless one on 3 on turn 1 with the Eye of Ugin and Mox Diamond, and putting the Cavern on the bottom. So that's the way we get a 3/3 in play on turn 1. We have a Chalice on 0 and the Torment Script.
I think I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think I like that.
Yeah, for those of you saying tuck Tormod's Crypt, as in get rid of Tormod's Crypt, I value Tormod's Crypt extremely highly in this matchup.
Basically, with this hand, we just want to get as many turns as possible to attack with the Endless One to draw either more pressure, more disruption, or just get 7 turns to kill them. Just make sure to play the Dormant script before the chalice. I'm not doubting you, just making sure.
Oh yeah, streamers do stupid things all the time because we're focused on like reading Twitch chat, interacting with people, talking through our lines, and a lot of times we'll say one thing and it's just like, oh, I did something very foolish.
I really don't need to stream to play badly. I'm perfectly capable of doing that without focusing on chat.
Yeah, so like I always see people giving Mengucci a lot of crap for misplays in his videos, and it's like, after you've streamed or done a bunch of recording and content production, like you get it. It's
Also,
so much harder.
have you seen the guy play in an actual paper tournaments? He's just way better.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward. Mengucci recorded a video with the Dino Stompy deck, so he teased some screenshots of that. So I'm gonna enjoy that over my lunch sometime next week.
Yeah, let's see if he can play triple green in his Ancient Tomb deck to get hasted creatures.
It happened more often than I think it should.
Yeah, it just looks a bit questionable. But it looked good in the game, so.
Yeah, like Julian got a 5-0 with it. Uh-oh. Chain of Vapor, the Chalice. I am not going to sacrifice a land, thank you. So they may be able to win without their graveyard, or they may have just Chain of Vapored so that they can play out a couple of artifacts or something.
No, I think it's the first option.
So do I. Or at least like an ad nauseam attempt or something. No, probably goblins.
Yeah, looks like goblins. So we really need our echoing troops, huh?
That would be pretty sweet. So 12 goblins is a lot of goblins. That is not going to help.
Yeah, just play it on 1.
So we're going to take 11 here, go to 9.
Yeah, then if we have... no, we don't have a Sky Spawner or Drowner anymore to produce multiple bodies. Like, if you draw running Drowners, maybe. But no. I guess we didn't board into all this dust. I have done that sometimes.
Yeah, we did not board in all this dust.
Did we bring in the Wretched Bomb?
I believe I boarded that in.
That's usually when I do board in. Yeah, we did. So.
Yeah, I board that in because like it can answer goblins as well as if your opponent just plays out a couple of pieces of artifact mana to play them around a chalice.
Yeah,
you can sometimes get them that way too.
Or if they strangely fumble with a LED in play and still have to play a cantrip or something.
Well, I'm glad they're holding the goblin back instead of just turning them all sideways at us. I appreciate the point of life they're saving us.
Yeah.
All right.
They might hold one back another turn.
Okay, yeah, I
doubt it, but
we'll play to our out.
They have shown a tendency to do so. Let's see if they see the line.
Yeah. All right.
They saw it.
They saw the line.
They saw the attack with everything you have lethal on board. Such good players.
Ignore the scoreboard, Forksford. We're having fun here.
I got really good at ignoring the scoreboard, luckily.
Yeah, I've got some interesting things that I'm working on. I brewed a new deck with Max Gilmore, Maxtortion, and it's pretty exciting. I don't know if it's good yet. I haven't gotten around to testing that one, but we have a pretty sweet variant of Steel Stompy that I think he's going to be producing a video and or article for in the next week or so.
I'm happy he finally gets around to playing Steel Stompy again, since he was so high on the Stone Coil Serpent when it got printed.
Oh, trust me, that card's in there.
Yeah,
I think that card is very good.
Finally, an answer to Delver, he said.
I think X creatures are underrated in Legacy. So, like, one thing I want to try out in the Dinosaur Stompy deck is Mistcutter Hydra, because I think that in many cases will be similar to Shifting Ceratops in terms of utility in the mid game.
You know what we need to draw more of?
Soul Lands.
Soul Lands.
And or Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. Any of the above. Oh, this is fine.
Yeah.
The bottom of coast.
I agree. Lemon of Pink, as far as ninjas go, I've been really impressed by the little artifact that they play that you can tap to like make a Thopter, and it's like a Thopter, a Servo, and then something else.
Yeah, I've been impressed with the fact that they win with that in their deck, but yeah.
Well, let me tell you, that stupid card has just like beat the crap out of so many decks that I've played.
Yeah, it's very good at grinding out of board state. Yeah.
Like I'm playing animation module. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I've just been so impressed by that card, and I don't feel like I should be. And then it's like, oh, all right, I've got this, dominating board state. Oh, I'll block, then I'll turn this into some slightly larger creature. Uh-oh.
Yeah, but it's just like it feels so like some master plan that horribly failed. Like we make a servo, we destroy the servo to make a Thopter. Then we destroy the Thopter to make a bigger creature. Like we got there.
Retrofitter Foundry instead? All right, hold on. Retro. Yeah, Retrofitter Foundry. That's the name of it. Please don't terminus me.
Yeah, Lemon of Pink. I think Oko is good with almost everything.
So this terminus is annoying in that like they get the 2 for 1, but we got 10 damage out of those 2 creatures.
Yeah, and we have 7 power out of our 1 creature we're gonna play, so they have to terminus again.
Plus, we also have Eye of Ugin as inevitability in this game, so I am a-okay with our current situation.
Yeah. Also, don't sleep on the fact of how fast Drowner enables an Eye of Ugin activation. It just ramps you up to it.
Oh, nice.
I think that if I'm always sometimes a bit late with this, I think that if we're gonna play the Mimic this turn, we should have played the pre-combat, since that's the one we're gonna play counterable.
Oh, you're right. I'm still gonna jam it anyway, just in case we run into like some sort of like weird Snapcaster Mage shunt block sort of situation.
Yeah, or if they just plow our Drowner, we're happy to have more pressure on board. On the other hand,
all right. So be it.
There's more Eldrazi where those came from. If they came from the bottom of our deck. But
yeah, and if they don't have something like Wasteland to invalidate this, I just actually don't know that they can beat us as the game goes long.
No.
We can play this to play around a Actually, I should be thinking about back to basics. And
Yeah, I haven't seen many Miracles decks recently run back to basics because Mystical Sanctuary is such a strong card. But
I agree.
we had this discussion as well. Like, should you play back to basics in your main board? No, probably not. You only want it if it's really impactful and then out of the board. Since with Mystic Sanctuary, you want like 2 of those. You have your duels. You probably run like 3 or 4 non-basics. Oko is an issue, maybe.
I mean, we can make our own elk. That's good, right?
Fair enough. I like elks.
The thing is
Especially
that
if they
our
I like
elks actually are going to end up being threatening with our opponent at 6. So they can't just elk stuff away forever unless they can also be creating their own.
also our elk is just better than theirs since ours has a charge counter. Nah, not an exile, but well.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Getting there.
Getting there. Let's see how many elks we're facing down when we're activating our Hayavukin.
Yeah. That's going to be the issue, because if they have at least 2 elks held back, then Reality Smasher isn't actually all that great.
No, so what you can usually do is like first you get 1 of 2 Drowners out, and then you get a Reality Smasher out.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Almost.
All right, our opponent is playing a very interesting Miracles variant.
I think Koto is finding its way into most of the Simic, the banned versions.
Good
Because it's
God,
just very efficient.
we're just gonna die to beats here.
Yeah, that's
So we're
11,
taking 3, 6,
12,
9, 10,
13.
11, 12. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I don't think we have an out. I'm pretty sure we don't have an out. But
Yeah, we got elked. I was pretty much 100% sure we were going to win this game, but Oko is disgustingly good, as you can see here.
yeah, it turns out Miracles can close the game around these times. We didn't even have a crown, but he stole it anyway.
Okay, so our opponent is not going for the absolute greatest amount of damage here. Okay, our opponent has left us with the out of drawing Reality Smasher now. They have not left a creature back. That may mean that they have an out to it, though.
I mean, they have a food token, so
Oh,
yeah.
shoot, yep.
I don't think they're afraid of our Reality Smash.
Yeah.
And let's not show them that.
Yeah, I agree. Oof.
Yeah, Alice Dust. The World Breaker gets in there.
This is probably good enough.
Yeah. I think that's everything we want to board in.
I think so.
And I'm always interested in taking out mana sources. If I have 4 eyes, I always take out an eye, but now we only have 3, so I want to keep that. So it's between Mox Diamonds and Mimics for me, since Mimics also require you to overextend onto the board.
Yeah. The Mimics also get so much worse once their opponent has, like, a couple of Elks in play.
Yeah. So the problem with cutting too many Mox Diamonds is that it makes our Dispute and Oko less reliable, but the first is fine, I think.
Yeah. So I think I want to do that.
And I guess we take out 1 more Mimic then?
Oh, shoot, 61 still.
Yeah, I think I like all the lands we have.
I agree. Do we just want to, like, keep some number of bodies and just trim one of those? Or do we just...
Yeah, that's fine, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
of note that this version of Eldrazi is actually pretty good against back to basics if you plan ahead for it.
I love this hand.
Well, love is a strong word, I think, but it's fine. I think it's keepable.
Well, I think the Once Upon a Time is going to find us a soul land so that we can curve turn 1 Chalice into turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer. That's kind of my hope.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Or not.
So let's say we want to Chalice on turn 1. Then on turn 2, we probably have to Once Upon a Time for something.
Yeah.
Or just hope we do draw a soul land.
I think it's between taking the Yavimaya Coast and just taking a Thought-Knot Seer and saying, like, since I've played this Chalice, the game is going to go long.
Yeah, I think because we get 5 more looks, taking the Thought-Knot Seer is fine.
And I want to pitch the Wastes here to our Mox Diamond.
Yeah. Well, last year when I played this deck, I beat a lot of back to basics. It turns out that Ugin, Mox Diamond, and a couple of basics go a long way.
I think I just want to cast...
Yeah, I think I want to cast that in their upkeep. Just play.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Ghost. So we really need the land.
Yeah.
I guess. So I think we can just take the snow-covered island in this case.
That'll let us cast an Oko if we draw one. I guess we can already do that.
So
yeah, I don't think there's.
I just don't want to take all the damage from H2. We
Yeah.
don't have.
I agree with that. Perfect.
So I think we still play the island just in case they have back to basics.
I agree. So note, if we use this for colored mana, we have to take our colorless off of the Yavimaya Coast.
Yeah, and this is why we play Coast over Tropical Island.
All right.
Kotal, I guess.
That's my guess as well.
No.
Oh no, a return to nature. Oh my god, our opponent's hand here.
Wow, that's gas. They don't have
Wow.
white, but that's gas. So we have to assume. Let's see. So they can't cast anything except for the brainstorm if they don't find a land. And they can cast the Oko the turn after it for sure.
I almost want to take.
I think I want to take the brainstorm.
I think I do too. And just like try to stick them with all of those 3 drops. The Cavern negates the Force of Will.
Yeah, and then this next turn, if they don't find any other land, we just take the Oko and hope they brick on white. Or they find white mana, bounce or Thought-Knot Seer, and, well, run us over.
Ponder is a great draw.
I think they rather had a fetch land.
So again, if we're keeping back to basics in mind, you want to tap the fewest number of lands that you can in order to go and cast your spells.
Yeah, though, to be honest, I think I would have kept the temple untapped and tapped the coast and island. But
Alright, so I think we just absolutely steal the Oko here.
So I think that Mentor is pretty rough for us to beat, but if they draw anything good, but if they don't, yeah, probably the Oko. Though the Fairy bouncing, not as rough. Yeah, it has to be the Oko, I think, but it's close. They're all really good.
Yeah, their hand is good. Like no doubts about that.
Like the way we lose the easiest is if they just have a good spell for Monastery Mentor. But we have to hope that they just don't find Source Explosives or something.
Oh my god.
There's also that.
Oh, and they just fetched. That was just blind. Oh my god.
Well, at least they can't cast Oko this turn because they used a white mana.
Yeah, we have that going for us, all right. Man, what a
We
beating.
did good. So are they gonna put the terminals on top? No, okay.
Yeah, ugh.
So I've heard the Miracles is good again. What do you think about that?
It has seemed decent today. Terminus seems like a fine magic card.
That also seems like a fine magic card at Ancient Doom.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might have been a bit less well timed than the Terminus they had, but
Yeah, we're gonna lose to this mentor over the course of probably about three turns.
yeah, maybe 2.
Yeah, depends on how much of this stuff they end up cycling out for other goodies.
Yeah. They get to fetch another Mystic Sanctuary for a Ponder if they want.
Nope, they just have the
to,
ponder.
you know, I think we're in a bad shape.
That might be true.
Well, we can. It's like we can kill the white source, but well, they have Astrolabe.
Yeah.
So we can kill the Astrolabe, I guess. Or no, we should just take him off of mana. So probably still the Tundra.
It's all right.
Well,
this thing is
we
just
got
gonna get
ourselves a
swords to
buffer.
plowshared, and then the mentor is gonna hit us, and everything's awful. It's kind of funny if they end up like Teferi bouncing it, and we get to blow up something else. But 20 life divided by a bunch of monks doesn't end up going very far.
No, it's not the same as dividing by 0, I guess.
Oh
Dividing
god,
by
Jace
points.
too? Sure. Don't even think they're going to care about us just like blowing up their lands. Oh, nope, they're just going to chump block it forever. That works too.
I think this is a perfect time for me to grab a beer.
Yeah, seems like it.
Be right back.
When my co-host has lost all faith in the game, that's when you know our opponent is savagely beating us. Okay. Well, we can try to do things with this. So we did top deck amazingly. Like, we have a Drowner, so we can do things with this. I don't think it's going to get past the Monk army, but it's another threat that's at least decent against Jace.
So we're just gonna find a knowledge dust or something and have it resolve after this. But first, I think we just attack the Jace.
Ship this at Jace. They'll just jump block.
So I've got something to get my spirits up again. It's an Imperial Stout with chocolate, coffee, and vanilla. That should do the trick.
So, fun fact, I am actually allergic to chocolate. So I actually don't do too many stouts for that reason.
Well, maybe a bit more normal stouts and not the chocolate infused stuff.
I'm more of an IPA guy myself.
You're one of those.
Oh, I am absolutely one of those.
I'm not a fan of IPAs, but a couple of years ago there was this 5 years long era, I guess, where every new brewery was only making IPAs.
I like the imperial stuff. That is extremely strong. Those are the ones that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, I have a couple of 18% iced stouts in my fridge. I like those.
I also enjoy barley wine quite a bit as well, but
A bit less. I like the really thick black stouts that almost look like tar. That's when you know they're good.
I wonder what terrible things our opponent still has for us left over in their deck. I'm convinced there could be anything over there at this point, based on what I've seen.
Yeah, but we're not dead yet.
No. I
We
mean,
might be this turn, but
if we're not dead, and all his dust is still just crazy good. Council's Judgment would presumably get rid of our Drowner of Hope.
I think we just let it happen.
I do too.
Yeah. Like tapping something is the same as like blocking it with Scion. So. Well, one thing I'm glad about is that they don't have Sensei's Divining Top anymore, since it would be so easy to just trigger it 6 times this turn.
All right, Counterbalance versus Eldrazi in post-board games.
Interesting choice.
I don't know about that choice.
There's a good chance they just don't care about Eldrazi and don't have any sideboard cards for it.
So our out is
17.
all is dust, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we can win basically under any circumstance where we don't have all is dust. I'm gonna look at our deck list, but
did we bring in Wretched Bomb?
We did.
Or Echoing Truths?
We did
yeah,
not.
we did in
Right, so we have two outs to the monks, but the Ratchet Bomb's only kind of an out.
Yeah, and it also blows up our Scions. So maybe that means we actually should block with a Scion on the monk this turn.
Just preserve a little bit of life and hedge towards keeping a body, an extra body. I like that.
This is better if we peel the Wretched Bomb instead of the All This Dust and actually have something resolve, which I doubt. The best land in the deck, the Tri-Land.
The Tri-Land is very, very strong.
I could check my records and check how long ago it was that this is horrible of a league. But...
All right, I'm going to take 2 minutes and run to the restroom. I'll be right back. You entertain the chat for a minute.
I will. So, chat, hit me with your best questions. Well, I'll tell you how awesome this deck is. And surely this is all variants. The deck is awesome. Yeah, I think the same. Whiteface. The deck is perfect. Pretty sure about that. Can I juggle? No, Felch Master 9000. I don't believe I can. I've tried it a bit at some point, but nope. 5-0 after 4 rounds, it was me. Well, I wouldn't call myself cheating wins into my data sheets, but maybe. I just don't register any losses and put in wins instead. I just always go 5-0. Yeah, I agree. White faces, the mana does look a little funky. I didn't have the Oko in there before. I just wanted to try the Oko without changing too much. But that did mean I had to add the forest to the deck. Well, that depends. It depends on Phil Veldsmaster. I would, of course, 5-0 the league after this. But I don't know with what deck. Probably not this, maybe this. I actually thought this deck was quite fine at the moment. Since it was good last year during the Miracles and Control meta, but it didn't seem that good against Miracles now.
All right, I'm back. Let's see if we can do something with this league.
What is the best non-Eldrazi tribal? It definitely isn't elves.
Probably humans.
It probably isn't humans.
Oh.
Unless you count a control deck with only Snapcaster Mage as a human deck, then yeah. The best tribe in Legacy currently. It's probably elves then. I
Elves
think
is an incredibly powerful deck, especially in the hands of a pilot that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Does Pithing Needle Stompy count as a tribal deck? I stand by my decision to play that deck. That deck was such a cool idea for open deck lists, and I swear that it goldfished so much better than what it looked like on stream there. It's not just Julian. There are other good elves players running around. What is it? Is it Jack Kendall? I think it is. Has produced plenty of elves content. And there's someone who has been doing like some Patreon based elves content that I've heard is pretty good, but I'm just blanking on who it was.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of good elves players, but it's basically the same as with Storm. You need to find the players that played well, that are just very comfortable with the deck and know how to play each matchup. Then it's a good deck.
Or you can just be 42 AD and just throw a whole bunch of really questionable cards into Storm that are like really situational and will just make for the best screenshots you've ever seen. Where it's like, there's no way I can lose, and then the Ant player casts Pernicious Deed, and it's just like, oh my god.
Nice.
Not like this.
I respect that. I respect adding Pernicious Deed in your Storm deck.
It was so dumb. Like, I had, like, Leyline, I think, multiple chalices, and it did not matter.
Did you revoke the Pernicious Deed?
That was not a line that I had thought of. Really, my loss was on me for that reason, right?
Yeah. See, all these that loss as well as all these losses are all on you, Phil.
Yep, that makes sense.
Sagusta. Let's see, what were we working with? We're working with
turn 1 Chalice of the Void with Once Upon a Time to hopefully set up turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer, or
I've
alternatively Oko mana.
I've heard that no matter how you build your Eldrazi deck, as long as you have Soul Lens, Chalice, and Thought-Knot Seer and can open with them, you have about 50% win rate.
Alright, we're doing this again.
Let's see what we get here.
I think I like taking the eye so we can Thought-Knot Seer next turn.
Yeah, I think too. If they're miracles, there's some consideration to getting something else, but Eye is also just good against them. So yeah.
Yeah, note that this does not necessarily have to be miracles. People are shoving Mystic Sanctuary into other decks as well. But, you know, it smells like miracles. So instead, we could
play Oko.
play Oko. We could also just play Uncounterable Thought-Knot Seer by pitching one of our lands.
Yeah, but if we do that, then we should probably pitch the Eye of Ugin, so we have Uncontrollable Thought-Knot and can play the Oko.
Yeah, I agree with that. It seems weird because we just actively wanted this card 30 seconds ago, but making this uncounterable when we also have eliminated Swords of Plowshares as an out is so important.
Yeah, agreed. I like this. I like Uncontrollable Thought-Knot on turn 2. Just hope they don't have too many answers to Chalice.
So they can't brainstorm to hide something, so we got that going for us.
Well, those are a bunch of cards we don't care about.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe the AKs, but.
So our next turn is probably just going to be casting a Thought-Knot Seer again.
Yeah, since they have so many counters, we can't protect the Oko from getting countered.
Yeah, I think we just
time it correctly to make them force with it.
I think we just take an AK here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a bit rough if they find a good answer to the Chalice, but I think this is fine.
Yeah, so if they drew land plus Council's Judgment, we'd be a little scared, but that's about it. I don't have any reason to do this pre-combat, right?
No, just attack first. They don't have green mana, so this is fine.
Nope. I'll do that.
You could, but then you also have to tap the Cavern of Souls. The other. Just to try and Jedi mind trick them.
Nope. All right, they drew another AK, so they get another card out of that.
They're so lucky.
I think I'm gonna take this one.
Seems good.
So now we have 8 power on board. They still don't have that third land. All right.
I think this was a premature concession on their part. If they are miracles and they have 4 Terminus in their deck, if they Terminus next turn, they get to draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Seems good.
All right. So I like All Is Dust, Ratchet Bomb. I think we brought in Mystical Dispute before, and World Breaker.
Yeah, I think one thing we did wrong is, well, depending on what we expect. I didn't expect the current list to have a lot of mentors. If we expect multiple mentors, I like to dismember in the deck. If we don't expect a dismember, and I don't think I do against Band at the moment, I would keep it in the sideboard.
Yeah, I think let's leave the dismember for game 2 and revisit it game 3 based on what our opponent's list looks like.
Yeah, basically, if we don't see Greenland in the next game, I assume they have a mentor in their deck.
Do we want to do this again where we trim Mimics, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the best trim. Yeah.
No, unfortunately, we haven't gotten to make any sweet fumble plays.
Our opponent haven't been playing equipment, the bastards. I've had so many great fumble moments, though. I think I posted a screenshot to Twitter about a year ago. It was glorious. Got a couple of equipments against my then Texas opponent.
I lean towards this one being a mulligan, but I think it's close.
If this Once Upon a Time finds a soul land, this is really good.
If it
So
doesn't, I feel like we have a very mediocre hand, but we have 5 looks plus our draw step.
yeah, so our population size currently is 53. We're looking at how many soul lands?
4, 8, 11.
11 in 5 cards, and we want to hit 1, so there's a 70% chance we hit.
Alright, I'm in.
Yeah, I'll keep it. This may have been a spot where we wanted to upkeep it, but no, I think it's fine as well.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to get countered. And if we drew a soul land, I would much rather not take one. Alright, yeah, perfect.
Not the perfect soul land, but a good soul land.
Yeah, it's awkward because Cavern of Souls obviously would be a fantastic draw, but I think we need the mana acceleration of the
Yeah, we
Eldrazi
need the
Temple
mana.
way too much.
Delaying ourselves a turn against this deck is just rough.
Also, would not complain about a second soul land off the top.
I'd rather top deck a Cavern of Souls now.
Oh, me too. Eh?
That seems a bit less counterable, but okay, sure. I think we just attack first and then Sky Spawner.
Agreed.
And then depending on what they do, we might want to smash her next turn from the token instead of playing the Totals here, since the Totals here post Terminus is a lot better than having it into the Terminus.
That makes sense to me.
But that's far away. Let's first see what happens. Something sounds like 50% to Mr. Whitefaces. No clue. Mentor. Well, maybe we should bring in this member if we get to our game tree.
Agreed.
Now I think we just pre-combat. I think the Dotnots here still, because they have the mentor. I'm a bit less afraid of Terminus. I'd rather make sure they don't have an awesome follow-up for the after the mentor.
Okay, I can buy that.
I think if they did nothing this turn, I just jam and smash it. But with the mentor in play, I'd rather get some more information and value here.
Council's Judgment and a Teferi. So my opponent is going to probably take 6 this turn, go to 12. We're going to have Smasher next turn.
Yeah, so if they cast the Council's Judgment, we know they can't cast Plow or something if they find it. But we do get a creature back into our hand. I think the Judgment is less bad for them, for us, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I don't think the Totals here getting it back into our hand is very good.
I'm scared of leaving them with Teferi and then they top deck Swords to Plowshares.
So yeah, that's what I meant. Because the Council Judgment costs them 2 white, we know they can't double spell us. Wait, unless it's a cantrip. So yeah, I like this. This is also a lot safer if they do have a Terminus on top, since they don't have a Planeswalker to follow it up with.
Yeah, so we're going to lose Thought-Knot Seer here. They're going to get a redraw, which could potentially give them another monk off of some cantrip or something. But then we're going to get to Reality Smasher and put a ton of pressure on our opponent.
Yeah, and
wow,
also,
even an attack from our opponent here.
Yeah, just take it.
Yeah.
It's also interesting, even in this matchup, if they don't have a Terminus, they need to answer the Sky Spawner. It's just gonna kill them. So here, I think we just jam the Smasher, and they get to jump the Mimic with the Monk. Take 7, good 4. I'm still a bit on the fence about these Once Upon a Times. I really don't know how good they are in this deck.
I was really interested in Orum's list that was just colorless Eldrazi with 4 Spirit Guides, 4 Once Upon a Times, no other green sources to cast them.
Yeah, I think situations like this, but when you don't have this much gas as we have now, just come up to way too often that you really want to be able to cast them. And even if you do it like that, I think I'd rather have a Mox Diamond than the Spirit Guide. You can't find Mox Diamond off of it, but at least you can cast top decked Once Upon a Times.
So I kind of like casting a Ratchet Bomb to eliminate monks as choke block. No. If I cast a Ratchet Bomb, that gives my opponent the opportunity to counterspell something and actually produce a monk.
Yeah, so the other line is to play a creature, but they also get to counter the creature then. That would mean that if it resolves, our Mimic gets bigger, but we don't need our Mimic to get big. 2 damage plus the Sky Spawner should be enough. I think we might just want to attack. It's just very bad if they get to trade a Monk for the Mimic.
Yeah. So I kind of want to cast Ratchet Bomb, attack in, see what happens, and then probably Once Upon a Time their turn, or maybe even Endless One's second main phase.
We can also make a 3/3 Endless One. If they counter it, we have to Ratchet Bomb to as a follow-up to destroy their Monk.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
And the 3/3 is big enough that our Mimic doesn't get jumped to death by a Monk.
Alright.
And if that plan fails, we can always cast a Once Upon a Time instead of the Ratchet Bomb. So I think I like that. I just want to make sure that our Mimic doesn't get jumped to death. That's basically it.
Okay.
So now I think we just attack. Just don't play the Ratchet Bomb first. Or do you think we should?
No, I'm all about attacking now. Okay, so they're going to Swords to Plowshares, our Reality Smasher.
Responding with an AK, okay. And another Swords to Plowshares?
That's pretty
That
disgusting.
would be rough.
That's okay. I think the surprise factor of this Ratchet Bomb will probably make it so that we can clean up next turn. The Displacer on its own is going to be lethal. Although I guess one thing to think about is that the Endless One that we played out interacts poorly with our Ratchet Bomb.
True, but I think if we just keep up Once Upon a Time, and if they're probably gas it, we can find a Smasher or something if you want.
We're also not that far away from just World Breakering.
No, that's true.
We have 5 of the
Although,
7 mana already, and we're going to have the green.
yeah, Breaker isn't great with a mentor in play, but Sky Spawner gets the job done.
All right, so we got on the scoreboard there.
I call this a success. We won a game, a match.
All right, so I don't know that what we were trying to do here was strong enough to make it so that we didn't just want to be playing colorless Eldrazi.
Yeah, so I think the last change I made. First, I added like 3 Once Upon a Times without adding too many green sources. And then I was like, well, theoretically, we can play Oko now. And I added the Snow-Covered Forest over another, I think it was an island or a City of Traitors. I don't think those last changes were good, but I wanted to try Oko.
Yeah,
So
I mean, as we saw in one of our matches, Oko on its own can invalidate so many games in a hurry.
Yeah. So I think if you want to test this more, I'd cut the Oko and the Forest for sure. Probably go to 3 Once Upon a Times, but could keep 4. And the Oko is now in the deck over a Jit, because Jit is really good in this type of Eldrazi deck, because it's so good with Sky Spawner.
I almost kind of want to put one more Eye of Ugin target in the deck. Just give us a little bit of range. You know, something like a Walking Ballista, for example, to just like finish off the games when we get into awkward board states that involve something like an Oko or something like that. I think that could be okay as well.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Walking Ballista in Eldrazi in general. I think too many of your lands don't actively help ramp it to a decent size. Eye of Ugin doesn't cast it at all.
Actually, in this build, I guess we don't even have City of Traitors, so maybe I'm probably wrong there.
Yeah, we could add 1 city or something, but I don't think that's where we want to go.
Yeah, I think there's something to the idea that's here, but it needs some more polish.
It feels a lot. This build feels a lot worse in this metagame, I think, than the build I had last year felt in that metagame, because it was just built to answer that metagame and with the cards that were good at that time. It's not doing a perfect job in this metagame. I do like the idea of having Oko in your Eldrazi deck to answer Tarmogoyf and to grow Endless Ones, but it's just not with this mana base.
I also think we did get a little unlucky this league. I think I expected better results than this.
I think the deck should have better results on average for sure. I think just having 2 3s or 3 2s at least should just be reasonable for this build. The deck is strong. It's pretty consistent in this way. That is, the Oko might be inconsistent, so you might want to cut that. But
All right. So, do you have any other decks you're thinking about trying out, just to inspire all the brewers out there?
there's so much I want to try out. Just yesterday, I was building a Greater Good deck for Legacy. It was glorious. I didn't test it yet, but it looked glorious. It's basically how can you break Greater Good in Legacy? It sounded pretty good. It was just milling yourselves with a lot of creatures, and then casting Hogaaks, drawing 8 cards, having some relevant card to kill your opponent.
I guess I'll tease something that I built. I was gonna keep it a
Sure.
secret for a little while, but I don't think I'm gonna play this one in the Legacy Premier League because it seems like something that I would play. So Max Torsion and I drafted up this deck list. It is a Steel Stompy deck that splashes black for a main deck Dark Confidant and sideboard cards that shore up some of the problems with the deck. So I had the idea for this because if you look, we have 16 cards that have converted mana cost 0 that are also like must answer cards. So there's 42 hits in this deck that do not cost you any life with Dark Confidant. So really excited to give this shell a try. It also does some cool things in that, like, if you play Urborg in the mid to late game, you can stop dealing damage to yourself with Ancient Tomb, which is huge for a deck like this.
I think you're slightly low on black sources, actually. You have 10 black sources as it stands, I believe.
Yeah,
So
4,
I
6,
would
10.
really like to get a couple more black sources in it, especially seeing the sideboard. Like for mainboard, if you expect only to draw one Dark Confidant per game, I think you're fine because the petals also use themselves if you use them, and then you are left with 6. Um,
Yeah, I could totally see that. Like, drop
I
a
think with the sideboard you need more
Mishra's
black.
Factory or two or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
the Steel Stompy decks historically have had a really hard time dealing with Merit Lodge. So you need to play something in a splash color like Liliana's Triumph or Clip Wings or something, or just like play extra copies of Caracas to help him deal with that.
yeah, I agree. It looks very sweet. It does a bunch of stuff that normal Steel Stompy doesn't get to do.
Yeah.
So the question is for me would be like if I look at a brew, the first thing I do is what does it want to do, and then how does the mana look? Is it viable? And if I look at this, I think you have to make a few more concessions to the deck list to be able to justify the black splash and just have it be consistent.
Yeah. And I think it'd be very easy to swap out like 2 Mishra's Factories for 2 more black producing lands.
Yeah, maybe even something that just helps you with the rest of the strategy. Maybe you can turn something somewhere to add a Mox Diamond or something like that, or a Mox Opal, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Max was against Mox Opal when we were doing the brewing.
Yeah, the problem with Mox Opal in this deck is that most of your artifacts get into play if once you have 2 mana. So you're not actually that good at enabling it.
Yeah, and it's only medium on like turn 1. It'll often get turned on like about on turn 3 in many cases, or like it'll be active turn 2, but you can't do anything with that 1 mana.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really awkward when you don't have like Lotus Petal. Yeah, but this is one of the things that I want to be messing around with.
Yeah,
Violent
I
Creature,
like the
thank you
idea.
very much for continuing to sub. I appreciate the support. I am very excited to be playing with this card again, though. I don't know if you've ever played with this card, but it's really stupid.
Yeah, it does a lot of work against certain decks, especially with Bad Miracles at the moment getting
Yep.
popular. The fact that it just stops all the Oko, Kotal cards as well as Source Closures is really good.
Yeah. So we've dubbed this deck Black Steel, and this is one of the things that I'm going to be testing in the coming weeks to see if it's the real deal or not.
Well, it could be me, but I see Top Secret as the name for the deck. Either it's actually Top Secret and you shouldn't show it, or it should be called something else. Right.
This was one of those things where when I was streaming earlier, I didn't want to reveal the name of it because I was if I was playing against Brian in the Legacy Premier League, I was going to submit the Black Steel deck list.
Yeah.
But then Pleasant Kenobi ended up winning, and so I went with something different.
Yeah, now you just need something that beats bad decks and like go from there.
Yeah, I do think he had a great deck choice in choosing to play Pernicious Deed deck against me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, now I have to work on tuning these 3 deck lists, and maybe getting rid of one of them. I'm happy with 2 of my choices, but not the 3rd yet. But more on that on
I'm
Tuesday
looking
night.
forward to see what you can come up with and what you expect Jarvis to play.
Yeah, I have some thoughts about that. You know, I think I know what I'd play if I were Jarvis facing me, but Jarvis's range is super impressive, so it would be very easy for me to call things wrong.
And he probably also knows what you think that he'd play when he'd play against you.
Yep. It's going to be a very fun mind game.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun, even though we didn't have the best results with this. Where can people find you if they're looking to follow all of your sweet brews and your cool screenshots?
So I'm trying to be PVDH everywhere on Discord and stuff, but on Twitter I can be found at PVDH_magic, and on Magic Online, if you ever face me, it's Marexis_off_NL. So sometimes people are like, "Oh, that's you." Yeah, that's me, and I usually play horrible brews. Sometimes decent decks, but well,
You gotta have fun with it. All right,
yeah.
folks, I hope you enjoyed the content today. If you did, please consider following if you aren't already doing so. I'm streaming Legacy usually 2, sometimes 3 days a week. You might see a couple of bonus streams over the next couple of weeks as I come upon breaks. And if you're really enjoying, please consider donating to the cause. After someone else supports another one of my streams, I'm going to schedule another guest as sort of the reward for that. Thank you all for joining me today. I'm going to turn you over to someone who is now playing Bant Snow in Legacy. They only have a
One
single.
last note. Can I
Oh,
have one
please,
last note
yes, of
too?
course.
Yeah. So I guess quite some of you might be going to Bologna next week, and I'll be there. So come up to me, say hi, and discuss awesome brews. And
That's my favorite
it'll be
thing
fun.
about Magic Twitter right now is seeing all these crazy deck lists. I got
Yeah.
a deck list from Matthew Book that I'm going to be trying out either this afternoon if I have time or Monday on stream. There's a lot of sweet loam decks running around.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find out what the hell I'm gonna play at Bologna, but I think we've got some decent decks lined up, but nothing like we had pre when it ran 6 ban. We were so confident in our choices, but
All right. Now I'm going to throw you over to Abaddon1222, who only has a single viewer right now, but is playing some Legacy. So let's show them some love. I hope you all have a great rest of the day.